Welcome to Independence Nation on the Light of Life Network. As usual, I'm Keith Pitts and here to talk to you more this week. Tonight, we're going to face a certain issue, a situation that I'm going through right now. Uh, it seems that since I've started this organization and since it has been able to bring in donations, when it didn't bring in donations, nobody cared about this organization. Nobody wanted to hear about what Light of Life was doing, even when we handed out mass amounts of food on several different occasions. No one cared to hear about Light of Life. But since that money has come in and that Light of Life has begun to make gains, there seem to be more and more mouths that have come out against this organization and against me personally. Um, uh, I have to say that some of the mouths against me have come from my own family. And as I've heard here lately, and I understand now why, I believe I understand why God allowed me to face fictitious charges saying that I did not appear in court and allowed me to be thrown in jail for several days so I could hear exactly what's being said against me. There was a guy who was at the jail and he spoke to another gentleman, and this gentleman came and told me that people in my family were saying things that I had raped a woman. And it was hard for me to believe and a hard pill to swallow that my family would go this low in efforts to destroy me. Now, the fact of the matter is, I have 7 brothers and 3 sisters, a large family. That's 11 of us all together. When you count my mother and father, that's 13. But out of all of us, God's favor has continuously been on me since I was a very young child. And so his favor has been on me, and to tell you the truth, I've never failed at anything in my life. I don't know what it is to fail at something. He's always allowed me to succeed, and he has blessed the work of my hands. And out of all my family members, I was able to go to a major university, in my opinion, the best university here in our country, the University of Pittsburgh. And my other family members never got to go to a major university. They never got real college life. But God's favor has continuously been on me. Now, I didn't always receive the level of achievement I wanted, but I always did succeed in some way. And so now that I'm here at this point in my life and God has blessed me, and they're trying to take away this organization and take away any funding for the organization, and they may be able to take away funding for a little while, but one thing is, if you can get God to let you know something, that he will bring it to pass, and things will happen for your life. But unfortunately, they went around telling people that I had raped a woman, and I know why they did this. It's because they wanted people to stand against me. They wanted people to stand against my level of success, the things that I've been able to do. The fact of the matter is that many people in my family aren't good with education. They're not very good at education at all. There are a handful that read on a 5th grade level, and they're just not good. They're not good with reading or writing. And instead of saying and taking initiative of themselves and saying, I'm the reason for this situation, they continually blame those who succeed. And so to them, I have held them down in some way by being able to succeed. That I'm holding them down and I'm holding them back. And there's more than one reason why most of the family members I can't speak to. Some of them lie so much that you can only believe about 25% of what they say, And so having a regular adult conversation with them is basically non-existent. But unfortunately, they have went around and said these malicious things about me. Of course, I still love them. They're my family. I'm not perfect, so I don't expect them to be perfect either, because God often uses imperfect people. Matter of fact, no one in the Bible was ever perfect except Yeshua himself. But I understand that they have problems as well. But it leaves me tonight to face the fact that there is an issue to uh, show the truth, to tell the truth of what's going on. I could have faced this situation and not spoken about it at all. But I've learned in my life that you have to speak about issues like this and attacks like this that come before you. I mean, firsthand, just an all-out assault against you. You have to speak the truth, and this is my platform in order to do just that. And so I'm here to speak the truth tonight, and the situation, as I said, I love my family. I have 7 brothers and 3 sisters. It seems as if God has chosen me out from among them that he might bless my life and keep me, and not just me, my daughter, and I pray the generations to follow along after I'm gone. But there are situations in life where you must look at the type of people that God uses. And when I think about the types of people he does use, I think about those who are, and often, as Thomas Aquinas often took a look at things that are religious in a philosophical way. I do that as well. And to those who have heard me in the past, you know that I do that, and I have studied religion and philosophy for many years, and over 20 years. And so I take a look at this internal versus an external problem. Many times I've addressed this problem, but I want to take it in another sense tonight, because I believe that God can use people who has an internal problem that affects themselves. If it's a destructive pattern for themselves, he can still use you. But when you have an internal problem that has an external, that involves externally hurting other people, that's where he cannot use you. That's where he will shut you down. As one of my brothers doesn't even know that God let me know that he was up in Columbus trying to get a coach to sue me when he heard that I had gained and had been blessed financially, that he immediately went to an old coach of mine and tried to get him to sue me over something that was said. But when you have an internal problem that is acted out externally, God can't use you. And see, my brothers and sisters don't understand that when you have these situations where your external problem is you don't want to see other people succeed. In my viewing, in my history of watching situations such as these, that God refuses to help people who want others to fail. He will bless those that bless me. He will curse those that curse me. And so I take a look at this situation. And so those with an internal problem that's acted out externally, he cannot use you. He cannot use you in any way, and thus he has to pass you up. He has to pass you by. And I've been facing problems and with my family making lies about me several times before. As a matter of fact, when I was living in Tennessee, they tried to tell people that I was gay, and now they're telling people that I'm out here raping women. And so one thing I've learned about people is when their lies conflict, that they're not true, and as a matter of fact, they are completely baseless. There's something else to this thing, and you must look into exactly why these people have this issue of lying on someone that they don't want to see succeed, after God has placed His approval on their life. And so I began to understand that there is something in the way of their vision. There's something in the way of their thought pattern. And I came across Leviathan. And we're going to talk a little bit more about Leviathan here in a minute. But let me move forward, because as I said, I like to face things in a philosophical way, and it's important that I face this full on, and not just with philosophy, with a little bit of sociology as well. And so we're going to take a look at what I have learned in sociology, what is called the Johari's window pane theory. And see the Johari's window pane, and let me go ahead and bring it up here on the screen. The Johari's window pane is this exactly what it is, a four-cornered window pane, and it has four sides, and we're going to talk about all these sides here and what each one means. And I believe it was created by a man by the last name of Luft, who was a sociologist or psychologist. But we're going to take a look into each room of this Johari's window pane theory. Now, it's first important to say that room one is the part of ourselves that we see that others don't see about us. So we'll see it here. It is the open part of this window pane here. It says that it is known to self, but is not known to others. And so that is the room one. We know it, but those who are around us, those who are our peers, they don't know that. They don't know these issues themselves. So room one, once again, is the part of ourselves that we see that others, I said don't know it, but they do know it. So we see it and that they see it. And so we move to room number two. Now, room number two of the Johari's window pane theory is the aspect that others see, but we are not aware of in ourselves. So let's go ahead to the diagram here. It is the blind spot, I guess, in the notion. Once again, it is the aspect that others see, but we ourselves do not see. This red part here where it says blind is not known to self, but known to others. And so, once again, we're reviewing the Johari's window pane theory that I've learned a long time ago, several years ago in sociology. And so, we come to room three. Now, room three is the most mysterious room, in that the unconscious or subconscious part of us is seen by neither ourselves nor others. So let's go here to the diagram. You see it is the unknown, and there are things that are unknown in our lives that are not known to self, and they're not known to others. And those pretty much has been up to this point an innocence. So you have the open, which is the known to self and others. So it's an openness, and you have a blindness, which is not known to self but known to others, and you have the unknown, which is not known to self or others. And so you understand here that there is an innocence in these first three windows. As a matter of fact, when we take a look at let's see here, the fourth window, we become to a different aspect of this Johari's window pane theory. And stick with me. I know that I'm getting a little philosophical and diving into sociology here, but stick with me. I am making a point of this here. So Johari's window pane theory, the room number four is our private space, which we know but keep from others. And so let's take a look here. It is this blue section here that is the hidden, and is where it is known to self but not known to others. And see, this part is the dangerous part of the aspect of self. And the way this situation is played out, that a participant is given adjectives that they are selected, these words, these adjectives are selected only by subjects, but not by of their peers, and are placed into the hidden or facade quadrant, representing information about them their peers are unaware of. It is then up to the subject to disclose this information or not. You see, the fact of the matter is that I am an open person. I'm an open book to people because, and in spite of what they may tell you, I have never intended to start a church. I have been studying religious studies and philosophy and sociology for several years, but I never intended to start a church. I always intended to start the nonprofit that I have now, and have it based on activism, education, and the production of news. But I want you to understand that there are types of people who hide who they are, and they don't really want you to know the truth behind who they are. I am an open book. I am so much an open book because I don't want you to follow me. I want you to follow Yahweh. Why? Because if you follow me, at some point in my life, I will fail you. But if you follow him, he will never fail you. He will never leave you nor forsake you. He does not sleep, nor does he slumber. He will not fail you. But I would. So follow him and not me. But there are those that want you to follow them, and I'm going to talk about it openly. I'm going to talk about it openly. There are people that want you to follow them that haven't spent a day in a school or any type of, they won't even spend a year, nothing, in formal schooling to learn who they are, or to learn what they call their profession. There's, especially in the black community, and what I've seen a lot is that people just wake up one day and call themselves preachers, or wake up one day and call themselves evangelists, bishops, prophets, apostles. You can't wake up tomorrow and just become something. And they will refuse to go to a school. They refuse to learn anything. These people are toxic people because they don't even want to learn what they need to know to help anyone else. They just want people to follow what they say and do. So you have to be careful with anyone who wants to lead your life in a way but refuse to have any formal schooling so they'll know how to lead your life. As a matter of fact, there are those in my family, and there are those that call themselves, and who I've met along the way, who call themselves, giving themselves a title, this, that, and the other. But when you ask them questions that they should know, if they are in the religious profession, that they should know, such as, who's St. Thomas Aquinas? And they don't know. Well, who is St. Augustine of Hippo? They don't know. Who is Constantine? The Emperor Constantine? Well, they don't know. Well, you definitely should know this. What's the difference between canonical and non-canonical writings? They don't know. People like that you have to get away from, because they haven't learned anything for you to learn from them. Or they have learned nothing. They can bring nothing to the table. But I myself have become an open book because I understand that God uses imperfect people. And there are times when I let my anger fly. That's the reason why I'm over the internet and not with you personally. Because sometimes I let it fly. Sometimes I say words that other people may deem as cuss words. And tell you the truth, people, there is no such thing as a cuss word. That's a man-made terminology. There's no such thing as a cuss word. If I had the time, I would teach you. You know what? Matter of fact, I'm going to go ahead and take the time. There is no such thing as a cuss word because the progenitor of words, being God, God made all words correctly, right? They're correct. If God made all words, a good and righteous God can't make dirty, evil words. Why? Because there is no duality to God. There is no good side and bad side to God. That would mean if there was a good and bad side to God, if there was a duality, that would mean that God is not inerrant. And so the fact of the matter is, words are neither moral or immoral, but amoral, and given by God for man's communication. But they won't tell you that, mainly because they don't sit down and think. They don't have a way, as the St. Thomas Aquinas says, to add reason into what they think about. They just go by what they're told. So once again, words are neither moral or immoral, but amoral, and given by God for man's communication. Because there is no duality to God. The progenitor of words, being a good and righteous God, cannot make evil, dirty words. As a matter of fact, the word that people often use, or they call it a word, as saying shit, is not actually a word. Actually, if you look it up historically on the web and you study it appropriately, you'll see that it was an acronym. It was the acronym S period, H period, I period, T period. An acronym that was stamped on cargo, and it just meant that the cargo was of lesser value and was to be placed on the bottom of the ship. Now, the more expensive cargo was placed on the upper levels of the ship in case of evacuation purposes. But they won't tell you that. Why? Because they don't study appropriately. You have people that know nothing, and they go to church, and all they want to do is bang a tambourine and jump around in the aisles and roll around on the floor, but there is no real transfer of information. The only way, what it actually means to repent, is to change the way you think. And the only way to change the way you think is with real knowledge, the real transfer of knowledge. And so that's what I was after. That's what made me become a Messianic Jew, because I wanted to return to the Hebrew roots, the real knowledge of the Word of God, the Word of Yeshua. And so I'm trying to get through this. Let's move forward. Then I just gave you a lesson in a lesson. But what I found out is that, and especially among my family, is that there are those who have a spirit of Leviathan. And I know you got preachers out there preaching that Leviathan is some mystical sea creature. That's why I chose the background for this session. But Leviathan is not a mystical sea creature. If someone teaches you that it is, that they're unable to hear from God, and you probably need to distance yourself from the person, because they don't know how to hear from God and delve into the mind of God, and they don't know how to research the things that are on their mind. But what you find is, or what I found is, that Leviathan, according to Peter Benchfield. Now, Peter Benchfield was a Jesuit who studied demonology, and it was in his findings that Leviathan is a demonic spirit of envy. And that's what I've been facing throughout the course of starting this nonprofit organization, and people trying to set me up, trying to make me look bad, trying to find a way to take away this organization, take away its ability to do good. I want to tell you what we plan to do in the future. And we already tried to make it to Pittsburgh, and we had those who stood in the way and stopped us. But in the future, we plan to open up an office in Pittsburgh, continue to have the school, Patmos University, continue to provide activism and education, and as well as produce news have a new studio, and those who know me know I often speak about these things, to have a nice studio to produce news, but also to add an immigration loan, a personal loan and an immigration loan, a microloan program to help those in the community who may need a microloan for a short period of time, and to be able to help immigrants on their way, on their path to citizenship. And also, it's going to take me a little while, as I am the president of this nonprofit organization, to make it through law school. But once I do make it through law school, we will address civil liberties and human rights issues as well, to whatever level that we have to. And that's what the resources and this money that my family and others are having this envy about, that's what it's going to be used for, to help people in need. Yes, we will be able to provide a loan, a microloan, and help the community, but at the same time, it's a win-win situation that we'll be able to also bring in a little bit of money for Light of Life as well. Same as with the school. We're given real knowledge. We purchased the curriculum and purchased everything that we have, and it was expensive, but we made it through it. And it took a while to get it done, but we were able to do it as money is being withheld from this organization, and people continually every day try to demonize me and this organization to make us look bad, to say we're not doing anything meaningful and that we're not relevant. But in my eyes, we are relevant, and I hopefully that you feel the same way, that we are relevant, that we are doing things to help the community, and that we are here for you. And so I just wanted to present you the truth today. These are the things that are going on, and I don't plan to hide anything from you. Yes, God, it seems like he treats me in the same way as the biblical David. David, as I understood, could let it fly. And there's some days I can deal with my enemies, having enemies and having them attack my home, and spray my furniture and clothing with chemicals, and try to attack me, and get the doctor who gave me a tonsillectomy, get him to try to make sure I had an infection, and even turn my parents against me, and go around and say malicious things about me. Some days I wake up and I feel real human and just want my enemies to go away. But I'm still here. I still have the mind to do what I can for the community, to let you know I love you, that I'm here for you in any way possible, and that I will strive to continue to better this organization as God continues to better me. So this is Keith Pitts for Independence Nation. I hope this has been informative, and I hope I'll see you next time here on Independence Nation.